Welcome to my Conveyorless tutorial. This is gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be a completely unscripted tutorial because I was doing this scripted, but I really got tired of doing that. So this is Conveyorless. Normally we use this key and we go up here, but we're gonna use this, do this little sequence break here, and it's gonna save like 4 to 5 minutes, something like that. This trick has been known for a bit over a year, so this is really long overdue, but I'm finally making this tutorial. When it comes to the conveyors, I think you should probably start with the left one, but I'm gonna go a little bit in depth about that later. For now, let's talk a little bit about setups. So you can't just... Oh, by the way, I should probably show you. This is the position you need to be in. Let me zoom in a bit. You really need to get familiar with the position here. If I move one more pixel down, then this happens, and you don't want that. So let's talk a little bit about setups, how you can get there kind of reliably. You can't just tap down on the D-pad because of how the movement works. It's probably impossible, I would say, to consistently only move a pixel at a time. So what you can do, one way is to tap down and then quickly tap sprint, like this. Notice you can see my inputs at the top left also. And I think it's okay, but still kind of unreliable. And if you get really, I should say, really hasty about it, it's really easy to go too far. Another way, which is a bit slower but way more reliable, is to tap down and start at the same time, and then when you close the menu, you tap sprint to stop your momentum instead. And doing this, you can actually only move a pixel at a time. It is a little bit time consuming, which brings me to probably the best setup that most runners use. You can stand behind these pillars here, and we're gonna look for a specific position. We are going to be looking for one more pixel up. Here we go. Do you see these two blue pixels here under Alundra's backpack? If I move one more pixel up, it will look like... There we go, finally. You see this line of Alundra's pants here? That's a pretty big sign that you moved too far. And then let's move a little bit. Now you can't see those blue pixels, so this is a sign that we're one pixel too far down. But here we go. From this position, hug the wall, and then we need to do 2 shoulder dashes. And you might already know how to do this, but you hold sprint and then jump, and then just tap down and hold down again. And here we are, once again. This setup is really good. It's really good, and you might be asking now, why don't we just do one shoulder dash? Let's actually zoom out again, why not? Why don't we just find a specific position, like for example here, and then just do one shoulder dash and jump from there? Well, the reason is this game is completely based upon subpixels, and for whatever reason, after doing just one subpixel, the game will move you in either 16 or 17 pixels. Now, when you do 2 of them, the game will consistently move you 32, regardless of how much you move the first one. So that means if you move one shoulder dash that ends up being 17 pixels, then the next one is only gonna be 15. And that also means that when you do the setup that I just showed you, come on, there we go. This first position here is gonna vary a little bit, but that's fine. It's completely fine because you will end up here. We need to jump every time. And now you can also move a little bit between the pillars, so just make sure to hug the pillar to the right here, so we have the absolute best position for the jump. And now before the jump, pull up a bomb. You might already know that holding something in your hand makes jumps easier in this game for some reason. And now you just jump, and there we go. When your shadow completely covers this tile here, that's when you turn to the right, because before that the boundary is actually really hard to see. But it's the same like hugging an edge like this. You won't really get very far. You don't want to hug the edge like that, but rather you want to jump through the corner and then turn like that. I'm doing it up here because it's easier to visualize up here rather than by doing this jump, because it's so hard to see the actual boundary. But if you turn too early, then it's gonna look something like, come on, you gotta jump, something like that. If you turn too early, you won't really get anywhere to the right. And there are some things you want to do when you do this jump. Now, something that might happen when you do this jump is you go too far to the right and you fall down like that. That's really bad. So what you want to do is you want to tap square when you land, and that's gonna make you throw the bomb, which stops your momentum. But there's something that can happen here. If you're 1 pixel away from failing the jump, then the bomb in your hand is gonna disintegrate. So in that case, you're not throwing the bomb, you're doing a regular sword slash, because the bomb is gone from your hand. So those are the 2 things that can happen and why you need to tap square. Another thing you can do to make the jump a bit easier is to hold sprint through it, because when you land, if your square input is a little bit delayed, then the sprint is also gonna stop your momentum. So as I do the jump, I hold triangle through the whole thing, and then I throw the bomb or do a sword slash. But yeah, there we go. So when it comes to doing on the left versus the right conveyor, if you do it on the left one, what you can do is you can just sprint straight down. Then you ride this platform up, and you have to interact with this sign here for the door to open, and then you just safely ride the platform back. But if you do it on the right conveyor, let's just do it like this. Let's say you just did the jump. The platform is not going to come up by itself. You have to activate it by standing on it. So you're going to have to do these 2 awkward jumps over the conveyors to get down. And a trick that I like to do here is you walk out until you can completely see Alundra's right hand. A little bit more like that. Something like that, yeah. And now try to jump to the left and actually tap left and jump at the same time. And as you land, you hold sprint to cancel your momentum. So something like that. Sometimes I think it's decent, but it's not perfect, as you can see. Something like that. And then you can do the same jump again to get over next time. You can jump like this if you want to, but I like doing this when you hold sprint, and then you will be done at this point. Another thing about the 2 is if you do the left one, then the penalty for failing the trick is worse. It takes like 8 seconds longer to get back up again if you fail the left conveyor, but when you do the first jump here, then you're done with the trick. Then you don't have to do any other tricky jumps. You just safely ride this. So, but yeah, I would still recommend the left one starting out. It's completely up to you though. But that's going to be it. If you practice this on console, it takes quite a long time to get the hang of the jump timing. So I would really recommend you do this with save states to begin with. But after that, I think once you start doing this on console, it is a little bit easier, just because of the tiny input lag there is on emulator. Okay, so thanks for watching. I'll see you, and good luck with nailing this trick.